In the decades following the 1970s, there was a great deal of rebellion, and simultaneously rock and roll was entering its golden age. Ozzy Osbourne, the wacky frontman of heavy metal pioneers Black Sabbath, and Jimmy Page, the musical genius behind Led Zeppelin's seismic sound, were axis points. Jimmy Page was the mastermind behind Led Zeppelin's groundbreaking music. They had worked together for years, but their paths eventually crossed in an awkward tango of rivalry, respect, and unspoken hatred. Page finally spoke out today, and the shocking truth about their relationship that he disclosed sent shockwaves through the rock community. Rock fans were taken aback by Page's comments. Although Jimmy and Ozzy were never friends, Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath are sometimes regarded as the forefathers of heavy music alongside each other. These two English bands made waves in the 80s and 90s with their intense blues-based sound and simultaneous single releases. In contrast, Black Sabbath was often criticized for being uninventive and naive in their genre pioneering, while Led Zeppelin was lauded for their virtuoso playing. Even though Jimmy knew that Ozzy had no plans to ever create anything, he couldn't help but feel that Black Sabbath was perpetually in Zeppelin's shadow. In contrast to Ozzy, the raving, self-destructive maniac whose personality occasionally overshadowed his musical talent, Page's was a careful guitarist who played complex riffs accurately. Page was the master guitarist, capable of playing intricate riffs with pinpoint accuracy. Zeppelin was gaining international renown as a godlike band, selling out stadiums across the globe, while Sabbath battled mental illness and instability. The already present hostility between the two groups was further exacerbated by this. Because Ozzy was too busy shouting about war pigs and Iron Man towards the end of the 1970s, critics failed to give his more complex songs, like Stairway to Heaven, the respect they was due. It all came tumbling down for Ozzy in 1979 when Black Sabbath fired him for his drug abuse. He was consequently abandoned to drift aimlessly amidst a cloud of intoxication, drugs, and misery. It was Jimmy's ability to keep Zeppelin together that allowed him to triumph over his own addiction. A teaching moment, in his view, was Ozzy's suicide attempt. Strangely though, something else happened. Ozzy triumphed over his addiction, resurrected other people with Sharon Osbourne's help, and redefined himself with 1980's Blizzard of Oz, proving that he was more than a hopeless heroin addict. His career was taking off at the same time that Led Zeppelin was dissolving after John Bonham's death. Taking this medication presented Jimmy Page with a significant challenge. The man Page had fired was now stealing arena slots and starting a solo career as he rummaged through the ruins of Led Zeppelin's reputation. Because of this, Page's anger was boiling over. Jimmy Page's use of the term Prince of Darkness to describe Ozzy is significantly older. Many people felt sorry for him because of the damage he caused by getting into public fights with other musicians, and even his own family. Ozzy's drug use was just one of many reasons for his dismissal from Black Sabbath. Another element was the accumulation of animosity and powerlessness over many years. As a result of Ozzy's unpredictable behavior, which included missing practices and losing control of the situation, band leader and principal inspiration, Tony Iommi, was growing more and more irritated. The band put up with his wacky behavior for a while, but by the late 1970s, his drug use had escalated beyond a private matter. It was having a devastating effect on the sound quality of the music. The decision to stage a walkout, no one took Ozzy's disappearance lightly, and when it happened, it was brutal. The cold and calculated separation between them left Ozzy feeling angry and bitter. No one said goodbye or made amends with anyone. He then made a statement in which he took aim at Iommi, claiming that the latter was a control freak for firing him from the band he had helped form. The individuals Ozzy trusted and thought of as family betrayed him, he felt. It wasn't just the loss of a band that Black Sabbath felt when they were kicked out of the band. Simultaneously, it pertained to his journey of self-discovery. Even though they tried to make amends multiple times, their bond kept them close. Any time they were in the same room, an ominous cloud of unspoken resentment loomed over them. Anyone who stepped foot in the room could feel the tension. Their broken hearts never fully healed, even though they tried to mend fences for the benefit of their fans and nostalgia. The hurt Ozzy felt from being deceived never really went away, no matter how well he did as a solo artist. Because Ozzy was unavailable, Sabbath replaced him with Ronnie James Dio, and Ozzy was very resentful of this decision. Dio wasn't merely a replacement, he was an outsider trying to change the band that had been his world. He was only attempting to make some adjustments. Ozzy frequently made fun of what he thought was excessive behavior on Dio's part, including his short stature, high-pitched voice, and overly dramatic stage appearance. This was prior to the outward manifestation of wrath. He said Dio's voice was opera for metalheads, and doubted he could ever achieve the same level of connection with his fans. But Dio, who was renowned for his wit and determination, retaliated with immense force. Authorities claimed that Ozzy relied on other people to write songs, produce albums, and manage his career. There was a period when he claimed Ozzy lacked any kind of musical talent. After years of verbal sparring, the men's animosity escalated to the point where it affected their interviews, media appearances, and even the opinions of their respective fan bases. Whereas Dio fans would yell out Dio's name whenever Ozzy performed, Ozzy fans would boo Sabbath songs from Dio's glory days. At one point, Tony Iommi said that he felt like he was caught between two fighting monarchs when he had to work with both vocalists separately. Underneath the insults and haughtiness, there was a basic mutual respect, even though they were visibly hostile toward each other. Ozzy later came to terms with the fact that, despite their disagreements, Dio was undeniably one of the most gifted singers in rock and roll history after Dio passed away in 2010. But their never-ending verbal sparring became legendary tales told by generations of people. The already precarious career of Ozzy in the mid to late 2000s was further complicated by a conflict between two enormous egos. At the time, Iron Maiden went to war with Ozzy. Bruce Dickinson accuses Ozzy of coming across as more of a manufactured product than an authentic musician, due to his reliance on teleprompters. It is Dickinson's habit to speak his mind while on tour, and he did not hold back during the 2005 Ozfest. Some questioned Ozzy's credibility, and he went so far as to say that he owed his success to the people around him, rather than his own talents. It was crystal clear to him that Ozzy was more of a star than a genuine band leader, and he treated him as such. Sharon Osbourne responded to the outpouring of hate speech against her in the most dramatic and public way possible. She planned to disconnect the power during Maiden's performance at Ozfest, throw eggs at the band, and encourage the crowd to boo Dickinson, all as part of her sophisticated act of sabotage. In the annals of metal history, it is considered one of the most infamous moments of total chaos that has ever occurred. A lot of people thought it was an unfair attack, but some people enjoyed seeing how petty rock stars could be. Nonetheless, the dispute did not conclude with that. The Osbournes were already being called a circus act, but Dickinson took it a notch higher by saying they were turning the metal world into a reality show. By contrast, Ozzy remained mostly silent, perhaps because he knew that Dickinson was partially right. The whole thing led to a vicious verbal altercation that neither of them would soon forget, and it cemented their rivalry in rock history. Ozzy's personal life has been a constant source of turmoil, due to his infidelity, substance addiction, and various forms of domestic violence. This includes his marriage to Sharon, which initially seemed unbreakable. His decades-long marriage was on the brink of dissolution in 2016, when he had an affair with his hairdresser. Sharon publicly shamed him, and kicked him out of the house, but they made up and got back together after he finished treatment. On multiple occasions prior to this one, their relationship had been strained by sensational relationships. Throughout his life, he had encountered numerous challenges due to his bad behavior, which included run-ins with the law. At one point, Sharon had to stay away because domestic violence was a real problem, and at another point, it looked like they were going to divorce. When they tried to patch things up though, their toxic love story unfolded like a rock opera, full of misunderstandings and eventual reconciliation. Raising a family in the glare of his immense fame has also been difficult for his offspring. It has been difficult for Jack and Kelly Osbourne to find their own identities, due to their struggles with addiction. Their father's illustrious legacy shaped their formative years. The Osbournes were a highly popular reality show that showed a dysfunctional family dealing with daily issues like substance abuse, emotional breakdowns, and domestic violence. But underneath all the jokes and crazy antics, there were real emotional scars that not even stardom or money could cure. Ozzy's personal problems included his relationships with people in the music industry, such as record labels, former managers, and others who sued him for alleged financial mismanagement. None of these people were even related to him and his immediate family. He became one of the most surprising figures in rock music due to his public behavior. He has repeatedly let his long-term alcoholism get the best of him, leading to the cancel events and the disappointment of his followers. Jimmy Page's most recent revelations about Ozzy may have shocked fans, but in reality, they simply confirm what everyone knew. Many in the music industry see Ozzy Osbourne as one of the most controversial and unpredictable personalities in the industry. His life has been marked by feuds, battles, and defeat, but he has persisted. In contrast to Jimmy's meticulous and methodical career, Ozzy's was characterized by anarchy. Possibly the fact that one is a composer and the other is insane is the reason their paths were always going to cross. Ozzy is still revered as a rock hero in modern times, and it's not even close to being due to his controversy. Whether you love or hate him, you can't help but notice him.